Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we have continued to read Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 5, the meeting of Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva, texts 3 and 4. Text 3 has no purport, so first I will read it, then text 4 we will chant together. Dhenunam niyuthe pradhat viprebhya samalankrithe hiladhin saptaratnaukha satakoma kumbham paravritam. The translation: Nanda Maharaja gave 2 million cows completely decorated with cloth and jewels in charity to the Brahmanas. He also gave them 7 hills of grain covered with jewels and with cloth decorated with golden embroidery. Text 4. Please repeat. Kalena snana sauchabhyam samskaraihi tapasa ijjaya shuddhanti dhanaihi santushtya dravyani atma atmavidyaya kalena snana sauchabhyam samskaraistapasejaya shuddhanti dhanai santushtya dravyanyatmama atmatmavidyaya kalena. By due course of time, the land and other material things become purified. Snana shaucha abhyam. By bathing, the body becomes purified. And by cleansing, unclean things become purified. Samskarai. By purificatory process, birth becomes purified. Tapasa. By austerity, the senses become purified. Ijjaya. By worship, the Brahmanas become purified. Shuddhanti. Become purified. Dhanehi. By charity, wealth becomes purified. Santushtaya. By satisfaction, the mind becomes purified. Dravyani. All material possessions such as cows, land and gold. Atma. The soul becomes purified. Atma Vidyaya, by self-realization. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O King, by the passing of time, land and other material possessions are purified. By bathing, the body is purified, and by being cleansed, unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, birth is purified. By austerity, the senses are purified, and by worship and charity offered to the Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified, and by self realization or Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified. Purport. These are Shastric injunctions concerning how one can purify everything according to Vedic civilization. Unless purified, anything we use will infect us with contamination. In India, 5,000 years ago, even in the villages such as that of Nanda Maharaja, people knew not to purify things, and thus they enjoy even material life without contamination. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Pranamane. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Pranamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shundamadi Pashatya Devtarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kalena Snana Shauchabhyam Samskarais Tapasya Jaya Shuddhanti Dhanai Santushtya Dravyan Atma Vidyaya. Again, translation. O King, by the passing of time, land and other material possessions are purified. By bathing, the body is purified, and by being cleansed, unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, birth is purified. By austerity, the senses are purified, and by worship and charity offered to the Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified, and by self-realization or Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified. Hare Krishna. So here continue to hear the 5th chapter of 10th canto, where Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva are going to meet in Mathura. So now these two verses today we read is describing how Nanda Maharaj is celebrating the birth ceremony of Krishna's birth. So this is whole jata karma, when child is born and the umbilical cord is cut, then the celebration happens. So in the celebration, in the Vedic system, any celebration is a lot of charity is given. So in the previous verse, in the 3rd verse, we saw that Nanda Maharaj given 2 million cows and lots of grains, the like mountains of grains. And not only cows, they are all decorated with ornaments, gold ornaments, and very nicely embroidery cloth, and so many amazing things. Today, people can't think of it. They can't imagine how it's possible. First, number is such a big thing. Nobody possesses. All these big billionaires, they have only numbers, the digital numbers in the phone and the computer they can see. They don't even see the money, the currency is so much. It's just numbers they have. So for these modern people, it's difficult to understand what is wealth. So, and the verse is, fourth verse is, which we are reading now, this is, as Prabhupada says, the Sastric injunctions concerning how one can purify everything according to Vedic civilization. So this is a traditional system to purify everything, because in the material world everything is contaminated. Therefore, it's called material world. There is, because as soon as we come into this material existence, we are getting in touch with the three modes of this material nature. Then we forget our identification. We start thinking that I am this body, and then everything related to this body is mine, I and mine. That concept is develops. Then according to, in that concept, then we live our life, and then so many misidentification or misconception goes on increasing whole life. And that's the reason why people, even though they are trying to be happy, trying to do so many activity, trying to plan so many things to be happy, but they are not happy. So the Supreme Lord is Sugrat, is our well-wisher, he is our benefactor. So he mercifully given the process to purify our contaminated this consciousness, to purify our existence, and then come back to our constitutional position, so that we can be happy. So Lord is, given all this process in the Shastra. According to Shastra, all this process, Srila Prabhupada explains that even before one takes birth, this Karvadana samskara performed. There are so many different samskaras is there in one's life. Even before birth, this samskara is there, Karvadana samskara. Then after the birth, this is first jata karma, then hair cutting, then the ear piercing, then first grain, anaprashna. Like that, throughout the life, there are so many different samskaras. Samskara means purificatory process. Prabhupada gives it meaning that. So it's the process to purify our existence. So as soon as we come into the material world, we become contaminated. So the process is given to purify every step, every single thing. So these are some of the things in this verse is listed, how to purify different things. So ultimately, the soul by self-realization becomes purified. That is very important. This Krishna conscious movement is giving this process to purify ourselves. This is to come to our real identification as a spirit soul. Uh, if we act as a spirit soul, then we come to our constitutional position. So, it's how to purify whole existence, all our belongings and everything uh, at once. This is the best process and most powerful process to purify by engaging in devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, uh, Krishna, in the most confidential knowledge, in the 9th chapter, second shloka, he says that pavitram, one word he used, Raja Vidya Raja Kuhyam, pavitram idam uttamam, pratyakshavagam dharmya, susukam kartanavya. Pavitram is means the most pure knowledge is Krishna is giving. So by that knowledge, uh, we can become completely pure. We can free from all contamination, all misconception, all misidentification, from everything. We can become purified. Uh, so, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has very nicely explained the power of this devotional service. I just read one paragraph related to this pavitram, this word Prabhupada explained. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing but trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. This advancement in spiritual life does not depend on any kind of previous education or qualification. The method itself is so pure that by simply engaging in it, one becomes pure. So this is the power of devotional service. So just simply by hearing the holy name, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Sikshastakam, recently we were hearing, Chettudarpana Marjanam. So to purify our heart, our mind, is this chanting holy name is the process. And practically, as Prabhupada says in this purport, that we can see practically, this is actually seen. And we see when people come and the beginning associate with devotees, they are like everybody else. Maybe they are meat eaters, they are, engaging all kinds of material activities and like any other karmis. But slowly, if they just continue to come to attend our program and, and chant holy name, then in few months we see so much change. Suddenly, big change in their external appearance. Then slowly, internally, their consciousness, their thought, everything become purified. Is sometimes, I have all the photos from 2010, 2011. I'm saving all our festival photos, uh, you know, in the computer, sometimes for some references or something, we look something old photos from the previous years, and sometimes we see the devotees who are now got initiated, Paka, uh, looking in Vaishnava appearance, and in the old photos they with mustache and long hair and wearing pant shirt, uh, like that, all kind of uh, thing we can see. Then slowly the next year you see the mustache is not there, the long hair is not there, but still is wearing some uh, fancy cloth or something. Then slowly, after few months or after 1 year, you see the lot of changes there. So, and ourselves, we all have this experience. All of us is experiencing ourselves. That's what Prabhupada says. It's a prataksha vagamam. We can realize ourselves. It's not that someone has to come and, you know, convince us to, this process works. Not necessary. Mm. So, and Srila Prabhupada further explains that not only by, hearing, chanting, and then further is more purification happens if somebody engage broadcasting, the preaching this process of devotional service, and engaging in different service. So how our process is explained in Nectar of Devotion, Ador Shraddha in the beginning. It's very little faith is there by some Sukriti, somebody seeing devotee or seeing proper books or tasting prasadam. They attracted, then they come in touch with devotees. Uh, so the Ador Shraddha then brings to the Sadhu Sangha um, by the association devotees. Uh, then next level they go by Sadhu Sangha, Adar Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. Then they started to engage in devotional service. Different service when they come for Sunday feast. We ask them to clean the temple hall, we clean the prasadam hall and serve prasadam, clean the pot, different service when they engage Bhajana Kriya, and they more purified and they take diksha, and then further they engage in devotional service, then anartha nivritti, the unwanted things, uh, to purify. More they engage in devotional service. So this is the process. So same thing Prabhupada is explaining here, that this more and more we can become purified more and more if we continue to engage in the devotional service, particularly to propagate. And Srila Prabhupada very much expressed his desire to distribute his books. So by the books are the basis of our movement. So by distributing these Krishna conscious books, uh, we can see the so much change in the world. Sometimes we hear from the devotees from the Western world. Nowadays, the words like karma, reincarnation, like this yoga, like these words are become common to the even people who are not really into any spiritual practice, or it becomes a common word, which is not like before Prabhupada. It was not like that. So means this is our result of Srila Prabhupada's books distributed. Because of that, more and more people read these books, and somehow they come into touch with the process of devotional service. So this process definitely is a purifying process, and it's many places in the Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam particularly, we hear how this uh, process is purifying. Bhagavatam, very famous verse, Shinvatam Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Kridandasto Gyabadhyani, Vidanoti Sugrat Satan. So, by hearing particularly Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, every day, regularly, if we keep on here, is uh, abhadrani, all the unwanted things, all the contamination from our heart, vitanoti is become purified. So how? Because Krishna is Sugrat Satam. Krishna is Sugrat. He is our well-wisher. He is our uh, well-wisher. So he is uh, purified by hearing about him, by his holy name. We become purified because he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. So he purifies. So this unwanted things means uh, so many things, because as soon as we identify ourselves as a body, and then um, we try to accumulate so many things because we think these material things will be satisfy our senses. Then because of that accumulating so many things, then the more and more we become contaminated in this material world. So unnecessary things, so many, uh, the education, the food, the life system, everything, lifestyle, everything. If you see what people are doing today, is just more and more is contaminating. Previously, people used to uh, follow the Vedic culture. People used to follow the traditional system. Everything was pure. Even the materially, Srila Prabhupada said that in the traditional Vedic system, if you follow, even if you want to enjoy materially, that is the best system. Doesn't have to be, as a devotional practitioner. Even for material enjoyment, the traditional system, the Vedic system is the best. Because that system is slowly purifies one's existence. For example, if somebody wants to get some, wealth, or somebody wants to live a healthy life, the process is given in the Vedic uh, literatures. So worship particular demigod, or do some yajna, uh, perform some fire sacrifice, do this charity, do this, do that. There are different processes given. So if someone performs that process, then they get those results. The Vedic literature, in the Vedas, the more than 90% is Karmakanda section only is there. Because the people are in different level. So according to their level, to purify them, there are different level of purificatory process is given. Even this demigod worship is so much, particularly in India, you can see. There's so many different demigods, so many type of worship is there. Why? Because these are all Vedic process, is to purify them. Uh, so slowly they develop some faith, then they, after obtaining some wealth, some this, that, and still they are not happy, then they will approach the, Purohit. Mm, I'm not happy, I want little more happiness, what to do? And then they give some other process, then they get, then still they are not happy because material things doesn't satisfy one. So they look for further, more satisfaction. Then they say, okay, you go to the heavenly plane. There, the lifestyle is much higher. Their long life is there, and So what should I do? Then you have to do a lot of, punya. You have to have. So you have to do this, that. So many different process. Uh, they recommend. Then they go to the heavenly planet. But that also, they realize that that also temporary. As Krishna says, Abrahma Punaloka Punaravartana Arjuna. Is up to even Brahmaloka, if we go, it's a temporary only because it is within this material world. So then ultimately they come to Krishna. They realize that Krishna is the only uh, person who can, take us out of this material existence. He can only purify completely our existence. So then they uh, engage in the service of Krishna. So this is the process. Why in the Vedic literature there's so many samskaras, so many this uh, worship and demigods and all kind of things are there for slowly to purify. But fortunately, uh, at least those who are here or those who are all have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's this ISKCON movement or this devotional service, we don't have to go through all these things and waste our time. Srila Prabhupada very clearly says this is like, even though it's recommended process, even though those are purifying, but that's very slow, uncertain, to climb the, if you want to come to the terrace of 10th floor building, and it takes time by step, one by one, if you want to come, and you have to really spend a lot of energy, you have to have strong be to climb up, otherwise you will collapse. If you are like me, you will collapse if you can't climb up. But this devotional service is like going in the lift. Just push one button, bzz, very fast and very easy. So therefore, this devotional service is the best way to purify everyone's existence in this Kali Yuga. So particularly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Rupa Goswami says that he is the most merciful avatar. So, and practically we all see that, we all experiencing by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy only. Srila Prabhupada came and Srila Prabhupada went to the Western country and spread this movement. And we are all here now, Otherwise, what is the reason? How we can imagine that, some of you from Europe, America, and, from North India, and so many different places. People come and sit in Karupur and, from some village come and sitting in Vyasas. There is no way to happen all these things without this Srila Prabhupada's movement. We are all sitting together. We are all engaged in one goal, to satisfy Krishna. Not only here, the whole world, Srila Prabhupada built a big house. So whole world can live in it. But we see, practically everywhere now this movement is spreading. So we are so fortunate, and this process is really purifies from all kinds of contamination, all kinds of misconception, all kinds of misidentification, everything. So, uh, of course, there are so many other things also is there apart from the direct devotional service, taking bath in the holy river, visiting holy places, and so many other things. But direct process of this devotional service, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archana Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. This process, particularly what Prabhupada given us, this is very, very powerful. We can see. In the beginning, particularly as we heard that Srinvatam Sakata Krishna sloka from Bhagavatam, in the Srila Prabhupada, especially if you hear like 66, 67 lectures in the beginning days, many times Prabhupada says one particular sentence. This is what I observed, that Srila Prabhupada many times to the audience, to the people who are sitting in front of him while giving lecture, he used to say, simply come, sit down and hear. This word he will use so many times, repeatedly. Simply come here, sit down and listen. So by hearing, so much is purifies, particularly from Prabhupada, pure devotee. So he purifies so much. And we see also Prabhupada given so many other things, particularly prasadam. And Prabhupada was cooking himself in the beginning days. People love like anything, they love it so much. Particularly this ISKCON bullet, gulab jamun becomes so famous. Even now we are talking about it. So is everything is purifying us. So unless we get purified, and we will not know what is real happiness. Otherwise, this material idea of materially trying to be happy is, there is no way. No one is happy. So far in the past, now, at present, in the future also is not going to happen. It's compared to now, all these big millionaires, billionaires. In the past, even much bigger people were there, much rich people were there, like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu. They were all these much bigger people. They were all much wealth they had than today people. But they were also not happy. They were never satisfied. They were always anxiety, always in tension. But devotees, we see in the past and the present, always they are happy. They are always under the shelter of Krishna's divine energy, not under the material energy. Mahatmanas sumam partha dhaivim prakriti mashrita. As soon as one becomes purified by engaging in devotional service, he becomes Mahatma. Means he becomes under the shelter of Krishna's divine energy. That is the sign. And we see those devotees, so many times, like Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Ramanuja Acharya, all these great acharyas' life, so many different risks they have taken. People were threatening them, life threatening was there. They were ready to kill them, but still they didn't care for, they were just taken shelter of Krishna, and they were not affected by all this material situation, material contamination. They are completely. Srila Prabhupada gives very nice example that the lotus, even though it comes from the water, but is water doesn't stay, water doesn't touch in the leaf. So like that, even though if we are engaged in devotional service, if we are, steady in the service of Krishna, even though we are in the material world will not affect us. And practically we've seen Prabhupada how he was, not, no, so much travel was there, so much preaching, so much uh, guests were coming, so many reporters were meeting, and so many things were happening. But Srila Prabhupada was just every day, his fixed schedule was there. He was just continually doing his service. And if somebody is not in his level, if someone is not completely pure, like Srila Prabhupada, it's not possible in that age, to do so much activity, so much, you know, traveling and so many things. So, uh, definitely, self-realization means, of course, also is realizing the Supreme Lord, uh, who we are, who is God, and what is our relationship. This is, self-realization. That is the process. So, this is the science of self-realization, engaged in devotional service. Hare Krishna. So, I stop here. Is there any question or comment? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।